Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Like a recent? Oh, there is a recent. Hmm. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Setting up my music right now for YouTube. Album. Like my camera's all fucked now. Not a good camera. There we go. That looks better. Wait, when I'm live? I think I'm live as fuck, brother. I think I'm live. Yep. Cool. Damn, some guy gave me like a music recommendation and I like didn't note it down and I was like, hey, you gotta remember that because I'm gonna forget, and I fucking forgot. Here's some of this. Hi PVC, nice to see you. Hi Call, welcome to the stream. I don't know. What's some good music, you know? Maybe I'll play the Ludwig playlist. Ludwig. Ludwig. The Ludwig playlist.
Alright,
Shut up, Ludwig. Okay, kind of a jam. Been watching quite a bit, just found out I changed my name so it didn't show. Yeah, it's very annoying, Cole. It's very annoying, this YouTube system. They really just don't give a fuck about you. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna show you, we're just gonna dox you. We're just gonna dox you. And like, you're just fucked forever now. Like the attitude. You ever done shrooms? Yeah, plenty of times, PVC. I think they're really great. Super recommend. Right. Hug. Of course, do it legally. No one would want anyone to do anything illegal. That's against the law. Go to Amsterdam and do truffles. Right. You guys want to see my money frog? First time I heard tuning in is we're just gonna dox you. Yeah, anyone who tunes in gets doxed. I doxed them, personally. You tried some the other day for the first time, a pretty weak dose. How many, so you did truffles PVC? How many did you do? How much did you do? Because a dosage doesn't matter, like, super much, I feel like, for truffles. It's more about your intent, it's more about what matters, like, what you want out of it. Maybe I'm a retard. Guys, I'm trying to find my rings. I'm just gonna have a quick look around for them. We're back, baby. Didn't find them, but hey. Had about 1.5 grams diluted in about 450 ml between 3 people. Oh, regular shrooms. Okay. No hallucinogenic effects, but pretty interesting perceptual shift. Yeah, you can get whatever you want out of them, man. You can get, like, if you want the hallucinogenic aspect, you can get that. If you want the perceptual shift, you can get that. It's just about what you want. Like, the same shrooms have, given me different effects just based on what I wanted at the time. It's just based on what I wanted. Like, and you can get pretty much whatever you want out of them in terms of, like, adjusting yourself, I feel like. You can, they're very multi-purpose, so it's just about what you want, what your intentions are. I don't think you can even class them as a drug. Yeah, I agree with you, PVC. They're not... I see them as something sacred and quite holy, like religious almost. Similar to DMT, yeah. It's a religious experience. It's not even a drug in my opinion. It's like a being. I actually see it as a being. Like, that's how I see it. Like, similar to like God. Like, shrooms are like a being that you connect to, and like they give you rewards. If you like, you know, just taking them is enough for them to like benefit you, right? But yeah, I don't know. They're not God, obviously. They're like their own thing. But the own thing that they are is a deity, and they deserve to be respected. God too, okay, let's be nice to God. He's a cool thing too. Apparently that's what 90% of people who take DMT for the first time here. Yeah, I think that's all legit, PVC. I think that, like, psychedelics are actually just deities that give you access to something and can do things for you and you can do things for them. And it's like building a relationship. And like treating it as just like the material world view, where it's like, oh yeah, it just changes like some chemicals in your brain, and like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal, you know, it's just like a a chemical shift, and it's just like a drug. It's like, I feel like it's so dumb. It just doesn't work. It's not good. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, enjoy the videos. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, Cole. I'm really glad you like the videos. How did the realization come about? I see people using self-inquiry and then some meditating. Can you get it into your practice? Can you get into your practice and such? So you want to hear about my practice, Cole, or do you want to hear about, for you, how would self-inquiry and meditation go? It's pretty different, right? Okay, bye, Alan. I'm not going to read your comments then. Get fucked. I was pretty hesitant with hallucinogenics because they're so out there. They're entirely different to anything you would have experienced before doing them. You have to be careful. Yeah, PVC, you have to know what you want. If you know what you want, and you know your intentions, and you've set your intentions, and you are clear about what you want to get out of it, and you're okay with getting what you want out of it, then you should do them. Because they give you what you want. That's such a complicated thing to figure out. It is, yeah. So, like, if you want to get what you want, then you should do them. And, like, a lot of people don't really realize that they want things that they want. So they, like, take them and they have, like, a bad trip. But, like, what they wanted was a bad trip. Really. Definitely gonna do a higher dose next time, maybe 1.5 to 3 just from me. So, like, I'm a bit confused, I'm a bit confused, PVC, because when I did shrooms, it was like a bag like this. It was a bag like this. And it was literally just, like, jam-packed full of shrooms. Like, shroom. Exactly, you're in a bad place, Alan, it's the same thing. If you're in a bad place, you want to be in a bad place, in my opinion. I got a photo if you want to see on Discord. Yeah, hit me up, dude. Yeah, I just ate the whole bag. I just literally ate the whole bag. So, like, when you're talking about, like, 1.5 grams, it seems a little strange to me. I'm interested to hear your process. That place it was a bad trip. Absolutely true. Yeah, I feel that way too. If you're interested in mine to point and down to share, maybe you can point something out to me. Well, Cole, you're gonna be a little disappointed. Wait, is this lagging? I swear this is lagging, this video. Because for me, it just happens to me. Like 7 years ago, like, it started happening where, like, multiple times per day, I would just experience massive perceptual, biological, like, transformations, basically. Just, like, a massive transformations of, like, everything. My being. Energetic being, physical being, like, psychological being. And they just happen for no reason, basically. It's like, if I go for a walk, then I just kind of get it. It's like, I just go for a walk and I just get, like, blasted out. But I don't even necessarily have to go for a walk. I can just be sitting in my chair trying to do something else. And I'll just get, like, fucked up on it. So, like... yeah, it's not a super insightful bit of sharing. Hi, Bill. There you go. Thanks, BBC. Oh, so these are dried, right? Okay, so the ones I had weren't dried. That's quite a lot, dude, I feel like. I feel like that's quite a lot. Yeah, I had, like, 2 doses of, like, non-dried, and I just ate them. It was great. It is really nice. 21.5 grams? I feel like that's a lot for shrooms. But yeah, PVC, like, if you're gonna do more, and just for yourself, especially if you're gonna do it alone, make sure that you know what you want, because you're gonna get it. You know, be very clear about it. I'll give you an example of, like, what I wanted. Like, what I wanted was, like, insight into... So I did it twice with, like, setup intentions, and the first time I wanted insight into, like, reality, and I wanted to understand morality. So understand morality, like, how to be a moral person, how to be a good person, and understand, like, what reality is. And then I got both those things. I got, like, a really deep understanding of, like, causality and how it works. And the second time I did it, I like, just wanted basically insight into reality. And I also wanted to be a moral person and to like follow my heart all the time. And like I had like an amazing experience when I did that. So I think it's like a huge, it's a big combination of things. It's like where you are like personally, what you actually have intended for your whole life beforehand, like what you intend now, what you specifically intend now, and it all kind of comes together into this big mesh of like deliverance where you just get what you want all at once, and it's like kind of up to you how much you want to like it's like the more shrooms you do, the more you get, you know. You came from Frank Young's page where he goes in depth. Your experience is very interesting too. I mean, what do you want to hear, Cole? You know, like for me, like I've been through so much. It's been like literally 7 years of huge perceptual changes, like huge shifts, and like biological shifts and energetic shifts, and like they've been every single time it's been different. I did like 20 grams of truffles, Bill. That was when I had that like really good experience. They said the same thing. Oh, sounds like you found some really great guys PvC. Maybe you should just keep doing it with them. But truffles is different to mushrooms PvC. They're lower. They have less psychedelic like quantity to them. Claim it was ruthless practice. Yeah. Frank called me one of the lucky ones, Cole. Like, for me, what I need is, like, nudges. It's like nudging. It doesn't really matter. I was gonna get enlightened no matter what. And it's like, where am I being nudged to? Like, I could take 5 years, or I could take 10 years, or I could take, like, a month. And what I did was, I vowed, like, multiple times, whenever I knew that vows would be powerful for me, which is a particular stage in the path, like, after you reach a cessation, which is like after you've been through an insight cycle. After that, vows are really powerful when you're in the review stage. So every time I get to a cessation, I was like, I vow to attain full enlightenment as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. And I would do that every single time. I vow to attain full enlightenment as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. I vow to attain full enlightenment as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. I vow, etc., etc., etc. And yeah, I mean, after I started doing that, it took me like 2 months, and then I attained full enlightenment. So it's like, yeah. But maybe just try and vow on attaining full enlightenment as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings, and maybe you'll get it really fast too. What's your take on animal rights? For the sake of all sentient beings? It's really complicated, PvC. Like, how does the benefit of all sentient beings actually manifest? Is like the question I'm getting from your question. It's like, what does it mean to be for the benefit of all sentient beings? And I think, like, there's a multifaceted aspect of, like, for the benefit of all sentient beings. The first one is that you tune into the field of what people want. So all people want to be happy. All people want to be free from suffering. So what you can do is you can tune your... if you tune your desire to enter that field, then it becomes amplified. So it's like, if you want something that everyone else wants, it's easier to get it. So like, if you're doing something for the benefit of all sentient beings, to make all beings happy, to make all beings free from suffering, and it's true that that's going to work, and it will actually benefit them, and they will actually get free from suffering if you do it, then like, pursuing that thing is way easier, because you're kind of getting like, everyone kind of helps you energetically. Why do you have black nails? Because it's hot. Yeah. I'm distracted now. Yeah, so you tune into that field, and then that field is beneficial for the thing that you want. And it's also that, like, just literally getting full enlightenment automatically benefits all sentient beings and makes all sentient beings more happy. So it's like, when you really bring it down to specific instances, it's like you're talking about animals, PVC. But, like, I also think that, like, atoms are sentient beings. I think that, like, grass is a sentient being. I think that, like, mushrooms are sentient beings. I think that, like, the table is a sentient being. And also, like, every single existence in space is a sentient being. So when you connect into that, it becomes less about, like, the specifics of things happening on Earth, and it becomes more about, like, just realizing the truth and kind of automatically benefiting everything with your energetic presence. So that's why that question was quite surprising. Could you feel bioenergy if I would send it to you right now? What do you mean by bioenergy, Jojo-Jan? I'll fuck out of the thing, let me skate. I'm pretty, like, ambivalent about sexuality. Like, doesn't really matter to me. I've only had sex with women so far, but cute femboy gets me going. You know, a boy that looks like a girl is pretty my thing. I can try, so say what do you... Well, tell me what bioenergy is first, Sujan, instead of just, like, blasting energy at me without telling me what it is, right? Degenerate? Not wrong, not wrong. Femboys get me going, have me dead for life energy. Do I want Jujan to send me life energy? No, I don't really want you to, Jujan. But thanks for offering. For me, energy isn't something I want to prove to anyone, it's just real. It's just a real thing that is part of my life, and I don't want more of it right now. I'm for real, let me skate. Hilarious that you could not want your way into it. There's a door in through everything. You're completely right, Bill. You're completely right. That's cool, yeah. Turns me on when you said my nickname, Holy Moly, or Let Me Skate. I'm glad, I'm glad. Always happy for someone to be turned on. What about magic? What about magic? It's real. What more do you want to know? I just wanted to see if you would feel anything just from everything, so I know it's possible. Ugh. Send me $5, Shajan, and I'll tell you, okay? I don't want to be blasted with energy right now. I'm kind of busy. Anything to do with energy, I like to charge money for. Because it's just kind of annoying. Same with magic. Like, sure, if you pay me. I'm kind of busy. Are you still playing Mortal? Yeah, I love Mortal. Right. It's great. I love Mortal. I quite enjoy it. Ooh, 20 notifications. I'm world popular. Guys, look how famous I am. What happened to you? What happened to me? You love Petra? Of course I love Petra. What kind of question is that? Okay. Pro tip, Mortal tactics to now. Well, I've been on the path for 7 years, was the hero. And on the path means that, for me, what it means is that for the last, like, 7 years, multiple times per day, I've been experiencing massive shifts in my perception, biology, and energy presence. As well as just, like, my identity. So that's been going on for like 7 years, and then like 3 weeks ago I realized Enlightenment, which is like the end stage of the spiritual practice, so like the insight path. And all my like suffering went away. I was like, oh well, why not stream and like make videos about it? So See you around, Cole. Thanks for tuning in, man. I really appreciate you hanging out, asking questions. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a pointer about your practice or whatever. I'm sure I would be able to. What led you to the path? Did you suffer? It's kind of RNG hands. I was just kind of like looking around like self-help books. And then I just kind of got like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna try and like observe the observer because someone mentioned it. And then I like walked outside behind my apartment and like looked up at a lamppost. And then everything became like mega beautiful and I just like fell on the ground. And I couldn't move and I was just like staring up at like the light. And like beauty was just like blasting me. And like the rain was pouring down on me. And then ever since then, I've just been getting it like enlightened multiple times per day. Was enlightenment something you reached without external stimulus? I mean, Miyamoto, like I like just ask questions. So like I spent a lot of my time asking myself questions, asking questions to enlightened beings, like telling enlightened beings that I want things, trying to figure out how to get what I want from enlightened beings, just by like reading books, watching videos, you know, going on streams or whatever. Well, mostly videos. You know, enlightened being streaming is pretty new. I'm pretty new, but like commenting on videos, like trying to get on voice calls with them, trying to chat with them. But like, I don't know. To me, like the actual enlightenment event, like a bunch of stuff happened around it, but it's not like anything really led to it, you know what I mean?
Some of the processed foods that you love are made from the bits you don't like. Bone, all the connective tissues, little bits of bone marrow and stuff like that. They even add chicken. Now, who would still eat this?
Right. Any videos you recommend? I love Yuji Krishnamurti, Cole, but I wouldn't recommend him. So, like, I don't recommend that, and I think that would fuck you up, actually. But I love him. I think he's great. So I guess yeah. I'm not super great at giving advice. But I love Yuji Krishnamurti. Okay, fucking making fucking prostitute jokes. He's meant to be a Zen account. Yeah, I only did psychedelics like 6 years into my path, Miyamoto. It was all natty up till then. Really awesome, but it's scary at the same time. Shut up, let me skate, dude. I only tried LSD like a month ago for the first time. It was okay. Okay. I want to try doing like a really big dose sometime. If you would be able to give a single tip to the program, which one it would be? I think everyone knows what like is good for them. Everyone knows what interests them already. Everyone knows what's fun for them already. And I think that they should just do that. Do you have any tips for me? I practice the mind illuminated because I suffer a lot. Still do. Still spend 9 practice 2-3 hours a day with a lot of self-inquiry. Could you talk a bit more about what your practice is, Hans? Just in like specific detail, because it's different for everyone. You mentioned earlier that by being aligned you're suffering went away, something like that. Can you elaborate what you mean by suffering going away for you? See you around, let me skate. It was nice hanging out with you, man. I hope you stay cool too. Yeah, Leech. But like, the identification as a person that you have, where like when you see, you think there's a seer. Where you think there's a thinker. When you feel, you think there's a feeler. That whole thing is very, very painful, very uncomfortable, very edgy just to live in. It just sucks kind of to live in. And that's why everyone is always seeking to be happy all the time and seeking to be free from suffering, is because they're stuck in this horrible fucking mess, which is thinking you're a person. And when you become enlightened, all of that suffering related to thinking you're a person just goes away. It just leaves. And everything becomes really smooth. So everything goes from being like edgy and like uncomfortable to just being like a smooth like experience. You like want anything anymore. You don't really need anything anymore. Like all of the stuff which you were using to like cope with being so uncomfortable and unhappy kind of just isn't necessary anymore, and you just stop doing it. Is there a particular way to consume experience psychedelics, such as to get closer to an enlightened state? Yeah, Miyamoto, just vow to yourself with true intention to get insight into reality, in particular the 3 characteristics of all sensations: impermanence, suffering, and no self. Vow to get insight into the 3 characteristics of all sensations: impermanence, suffering, and no self. And after that, write it down, and then vow it again, and then write it down again. And then make sure that you really, really want it. And then while you're doing them, after you take them, before they start hitting you, like really just be ready for that to happen. And like prepare yourself for that to happen. And like be ready to do anything, be ready to surrender, be ready to die. You know, be okay with anything happening to you. Allow the drug to make changes to your body, biologically. Allow it to make changes to your perceptions. Don't resist at all. You know, worship the being that is the drug. And integrate it. That's a pretty good way to get close to an enlightened state with psychedelics. Frank Yang that said that some enlightened beings like Eckhart Tolle and Adyashanti barely experience anything outside the state stayed the same. I kind of think that's kind of bullshit, Hans. It's like, I think you get what you want out of like any being. Like, drugs, like shrooms, I see them more as, you know, like a god, like a deity. And it's like, you can, like, ask the deity for things, or like, whatever you want, the deity gives you. And it's like, if you want to barely experience anything because you're so fucking enlightened and cool, then that's what you can get. But I think they could have got something cool out of it if they wanted to. That said, though, like, I am basically on shrooms 24/7. In terms of effects, but there's a mixed relationship there. But also, I think, you know, I think that they're a tool that can be used. They're an extremely powerful tool, actually, that can be used to get what you want. And if you don't have a good relationship to them, and if it's your first time doing them, of course they're just going to be like a drug that is kind of meaningless and whatever. But if you've built this relationship up with that deity, with that god. With that deity. The deity, not a god. God's a separate thing. With that deity, that is like shrooms. And then like you go into it and you like really want something, and like the shrooms help you get there. It's like, you know, like, why shit on that? I don't think that's cool to shit on. I think that's a cool thing. I think that's a good thing. Hey, good night, XC. Thanks for tuning in and wishing everyone a good night. That's really nice. I didn't see any explicit sign around other than your necklace. What about this? Yes, Rachel goes by the priest of Buddhism. Any other influence? To be honest, LH, it's just a personal thing for me. It's just my experience. I just speak from my experience. But I've always found that my experience very closely matches the Zen masters. So like Chan, the Chinese Zen Buddhism. And that's people like Foyan, Yunmen, Hang Po. Basically, like, if you read Hang Po, then you know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to enlightenment. As well as Bankai Yotaku, who I took get my name from. He was a huge influence. Like, the unborn mind is a whole thing. That's the same mind that I think I have. Oh, I didn't think I have it. I have it. Same mind I have. And that I tell people about. So, like, we just share the same... People, me and the Zen Masters just share the same thing, which is enlightenment. And, you know, it's fun to borrow their ideas and talk about things the same way they did. But that's just because I've read them a lot. It's not a big deal. Hangpo is great. Whenever I read Hangpo, I'm like, damn, that's just true. Can I ask you questions on Discord? Of course, Hans. Yeah, do you want the Discord link, or have you already got it already? Yeah. You want a Discord link? Let me get you one. Let me get you one, sweet boy. Sweet friend. But it's great. Whenever I read, like, there's like a dialogue, a question and answer with Hangbo in this book. And whenever he answers, I'm just like, yeah, that's so true. Like, that's exactly what I would have said. I love it. It's kind of like nice and validating too. It's like, ah, yeah, that's true. That's fucking true, man. I really respect the Zed Masters. Hi, Felix. It's okay, LH. I was just playing around. Have you ever heard of Taku? I have heard of Taku, LH. I listened to them a while ago, but like, something about it didn't hit for me. It was a little too psychedelic for me. Oh, Jesus Christ. It was a little too psychedelic for me. Sorry, I started that random man shouting. I don't know where that came from. Fucking YouTube was just like randomly open. Yeah, okay, we're gonna take a question from Hans. Hi, Hans.
Yo, man. What's up?
Not much. Just kind of chilling and vibing.
Nice, man.
Let me turn you up. Up.
I'll put my mic a little bit closer.
Okay. You're up.
First of all, thank you for doing this, man. I really like this. I find your channel through Frank Yang.
Okay. Great. Yeah, no problem. That's you know, this is what I wanted when I was on the path, so I'm glad I can provide it for other people now that I'm enlightened.
Awesome, man. All right, my question. Yeah, so okay, how should I start? I've been dealing with anxiety for a long time, since a few years, and it actually my whole life literally fell apart, and it's still kind of apart for I don't know, like almost 4 years. So I worked in sales. I did a lot of hard work, and
You worked in sales?
yeah, I worked in sales, and also because I was a little bit scared of talking to people, and I always admired people who could like really connect with other people, and I was like really interested in human behavior and things like that. So I thought sales would be amazing, and that was actually the first time in my life that I had something great, you know. But then I reached the #1 position of the Netherlands, of my country, and then after that, it all fell down. I always worked really hard on myself because I felt there was like something wrong or something missing or something. I don't know. So I did a lot of self-help, a lot of reading, a lot of exercise, and a lot of exposure, like working harder, doing more, and but it made it worse. Like I fell down in a pit, got really depressed and anxious, and yeah, I'm still there. I'm not depressed anymore, luckily, but I'm still dealing with like some weird anxiety in my body, like 24/7. And I don't know why. People, when they talk to me, they say I sound like a really healthy individual, and but yeah, not sure what to do, man.
Do you want this anxiety to go away?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Okay, so where do you feel it in your body?
It's in the middle of my chest. It sometimes moves. It's also in my head, and yeah, sometimes during meditation, it's really extreme. It's like it almost feels like there's like something really wants to get out, but it's like it's almost like it doesn't fit through something. It can't. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't want to. It really something really wants to get out, but it's like too much to get out or something. If that makes any sense.
So this is energy, man. You're talking about energy. Energy is a whole separate thing to like the standard conventional health stuff. and it's not anxiety. It's his own thing. And
Yeah.
the tools to deal with it are spiritual. They aren't like medicine. You're never going to solve it with medicine.
Yeah.
So here are some tools to deal with it. The first one is to direct loving attention to it. So like, the same way that you would love a person, have you loved someone before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I love you, and like I appreciate you, and like you can like do whatever you want, and like you can be whatever you want, and like I just welcome you like who you are and what you are, like just directing that kind of intent towards the energy. And just kind of appreciating it, because what the reason it's there for a reason, and it wants to help, and it wants you to be happy, and it wants you to be free from suffering. And like the problem isn't that like there's something strange going on, it's just that like you need to build up a relationship with it, and building up that relationship in a loving way is really, really beneficial for letting that energy sort of do whatever it wants to do in your body. So it's like if you want to go somewhere, then you can, if you want to dissolve away, then you can, like if you want to stay there, you can. Just like that kind of acceptance is really, really good.
Okay. Well, yeah, I've did a lot of acceptance therapy, a lot of acceptance and letting go methods and things like that. But I've never really, honestly, did like putting. It was more like, okay, you can. Yeah, I don't know. I'd
Yeah.
never really focused like good energy towards it. It was more like, okay, you can do whatever you want, but it was like still a bad relationship in a way, you know?
Exactly, yeah. You don't want to be like, I'm like, you can do whatever you want because I want to let you go. It's kind of like a fucked up way to deal with someone, right? It's like, you got to think of it like how a person would react to that. Like, the best way to relate to it would be like, it's a god that wants to help you, like a deity that wants to help you. It's like,
I like that. I like that.
yeah, it's like, like, thank you for like being here. It's like, what do you want to do? And like, I'm so happy for you to do it. And like, thanks for doing it. Like, and like, what you might find is that when you shift your relationship to it from resistance to like true acceptance and like almost a welcoming, loving energy, then it will move kind of by itself of itself, and you can just let it move, and like letting it do what it wants, and like surrendering like whatever it is that you feel might be in danger is really, really good.
Okay. All right. I will. It's a good reminder. I will. It's a good point, man. I will more actively like send love towards it.
Yeah, and
It's a
there's
good thing
like
for me to find.
there's pretty like I have like whole systems, and like there's like pretty hundreds of other things that I can tell you about it.
Yeah.
But I guess I just feel mildly trepidatious about just like giving you for free what I charge people £80 an hour for. But that just what I told you there is going to be really, really useful, but it is also incomplete. And there's a bunch of other stuff you can do, and like it might be fun to look at chakras, figure out chakras. Yeah, and I'm trying not to like pitch you buying an £80 session with me, but like that would be good for you, and I also don't want to do it for free. So it's up to you if you want to do that or not.
I'll think about it.
Okay, thanks for the question. Good luck.
All right, thank you, man.
Right, and feel free to ask questions in the chat still and all that. I'm always happy to answer questions.
Thank you so much.
Specific questions are really, really good, because then it's very low effort for me to answer.
I understand.
Well, like giving you a whole system of managing energy is kind of like high effort and annoying, so that's why I charge money for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Bye, Hans. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
See ya.
Great. Fun. Why is my OBS lagging? It's like, well, what's happening? Hi, Felix. Why are you not streaming on Twitch? I'm just trying out YouTube, Felix. I kind of prefer it at this point. Slowly building a preference for it, and I'm not super sure why. But it's just how it is, I guess. Is my video lagging for you guys, or is it fine? Because to me it looks kind of laggy. Not for me? Oh, maybe it's just like a weird thing on my computer. Video's fine. Thanks, Milano. No lag at all? Oh, great. 1080 without buffering? Oh, we're living the dream. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing we're living the dream right now. That's good news. But yeah, guys, if you're hearing from Frank Young, me and Frank are gonna do a call soon and record it, so that's gonna be really great. I'm looking forward to doing that. Yeah. Sorry guys, I was just quickly liking some comments on my Instagram DMs to let people know that I still love them. Take my attention away from the stream real quick. Fine. Yay. I'm just like looking at my eyelids. I'm trying to make them like not creased. How do I find a rank Julian Mortal? Ask your friends, Q. No problem, Darko. No problem. Always happy to help. Alternatively, start streaming and pull yourself the best of rank duels, and then eventually we'll let Q in to prove you wrong. You into music at all? Do you see it as of any particular value spiritually? I think music is as good for spirituality as anything else, in that it can be really, really beautiful and amazing. And then you're like, oh, this is great. You know, like trees can be like that. Like the sky can be like that. Video games can be like that. Like anything in your perception can be like that, and music's just one of those things that can just be really beautiful and amazing if you want it to be. And that's quite valuable spiritually, I guess, like knowing things are really beautiful and amazing. So, I don't know. I guess. My answer is I guess. Am I into music though? I don't know. It's hard. It's a hard one for me. But I'm more of a silence guy, and I quite like natural sounds. Like what people hear as like just like random noises that might be quite annoying, I can kind of tune into as like a natural symphony of like music. So I really quite enjoy just kind of listening to just like the space and like how the space sounds, and like what's happening in that space. And that's just kind of like a beautiful thing for me. So I think music's great and it can be really beautiful, but I also just really enjoy like the natural soundscape. I was meant to get a package delivered today. I just remembered. Okay guys, I'm checking Amazon. I should have received a Bodhidharma lucky trinket. Where is it? Where is it? It's running late. Running late? When's it gonna arrive? It's running late and we don't know when it's gonna arrive, guys. It's 10:35 p.m. So I got a feeling it's not gonna arrive today. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you guys think about my lucky copper bead bracelet? Can I get some opinions in the chat? The reception has been positive so far. I'm gonna hop on Twitter, say out to my friends. 40 notifications. Signs are not naming the streets or leading you to the highway. The signs are naming names. Tombstones to mark the dead of children not even born. And I don't mean abortion, I mean what is to come. The signs are telling me to turn back around. The signs are telling me to... This guy's written a whole thing about being awkward. That's fun. The signs are asking me questions. Okay, time to do some teaching. Some Twitter teaching. This is very cool. Thanks, Billy. Yeah, I thought it was cool. It's more for the luck aspect, though. I'm buying a bunch of lucky stuff. Like this is my lucky bracelet. I mean, it looks cool, but like, and then this is my lucky frog. Focus on the frog. I never have too much luck. Fucking true, dude. Can't focus on the frog. But I've got a lucky frog. And I bought a lucky doll, but it's running late. It's not a doll. What is it, like a Bodhidharma doll? Japanese. Daruma doll. I bought a Daruma doll. Yeah, like this, but like much more zen-y. More like this, like brown. I don't think I might have got the wrong one. That one's on red. Bodhidharma looks kind of like a badass. You know what I'm saying? Don't mess with that guy. That's for sure fucking true, dude. He'd punch your fucking head in so fast. You wouldn't even blink. You wouldn't even be able to blink, and he'd punch your head in. Maybe I'll just say it out loud instead. What do I feel like saying? Red Shepherd headbutt me for an instant kill. You're just so lucky. Yeah, you just trip. He doesn't even trip you. You just, as soon as you insult him, you just fall over and die immediately. Insane luck. Can't even get like traced back as like the criminal. Yeah. What am I feeling? I guess I'm not really feeling like some like. I'll just talk about it. We are listening to tongues that lie. We give them an ear, we give them a hand, we give them both eyes. So we cannot see the signs. Slow, there are children playing in these streets and they cannot read the signs. They are only children. Yeah, like people really think that they're a person. It's kind of fucking wild. Like, why do you think you're a person? It doesn't make any sense. I feel like. I'm saying. Do you not see the signs? We must read the signs. And we must turn around. We must turn around. We gotta turn. This makes no goddamn sense to me. And we gotta read the signs. We must read the signs. We must read the signs. We must read the signs. The more that you engage with like content, which can be like realizing something and then like going through the process of realizing it and then like, you know, having a cessation and like understanding more and like realizing more stuff, like all of that is actually like a movement away from the like real thing, like the enlightenment, because it's all movement like into form, like it's form as reality. You're treating these forms which are arising in your perception as like thoughts, like visuals, you know, like perceptions, and you're treating them as like reality. And form is empty is like the realization you get to. And that like form is emptiness and like nothing's arising, nothing's happening, nothing has ever happened, nothing ever will happen. Like that non-arising mind isn't of form, or like not form. It's like not in any duality at all, and it's completely non-conceptual. So it's like what's all this stuff that you're doing that you think is like enlightenment? You know what I mean? Like the non-arising mind is it, and like you don't have to arise anything to understand it. It's like everything is already not arising. Like it is completely non-different from your current perception. All form is empty and everything is not arising, and you can just tune directly into that at any time because it's exactly how everything already is. I wonder if I put my speakers on, you guys can hear it. Let me know if you can hear it. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? My headphones are a bit fucked, fortunately. Don't buy aux to aux cables off Amazon. Look at this headphone mark. Holy shit, dude. Got the headphone mark. Okay, can you guys hear the music? When I talk, can you guys hear the music? It still feels a lot like there's a person, even though I intellectually understand. I would, you know, look into that, Cole, because that's fucking weird. There's no self, man, and it's not like there's a person for you, and then when you realize that there's no self, suddenly there's not a person for you. The realization when you realize that there's no self is that there's never been a self. And there is no self, like there's never been a self. Like nothing's ever arisen. Like there's never been a seer, there's never been a thinker, there's never been a hearer. There's never been a feeler. There's never been a cognizer, you know? And it's not a transition. You don't change at all. Like you just notice that like, oh wait, there isn't a self. And you're like, ah! Like your body mind just like relaxes into that and then all of your suffering goes away. So it's like, why do you feel like there's a person? Like there isn't one. You know what I mean? Makes no goddamn sense to me. I get it. Tough life. How to tune into it is, I guess, is a question. I mean, that's the weird thing, is that it's already present in every form, and there already isn't a person. Like, how do you tune into it? Like, I don't know why you're not. Like, it's already there for everyone. It's the same for everyone. There's no beings. There's nothing arising. Nothing ever has arisen. Nothing ever will arise. So it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't even know what. Like, I don't know what you're doing at all. It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Music is my meaning to life. Yay. Wait, what the fuck? Philosophers on Twitch playing Flight Simulator 2. What the fuck? They're stealing my. They're using my stream for advertisement. Okay, let me. But it did at one point make sense? What do you mean, Cole? What did at one point? This is a bomb tweet. This is a sick tweet. What about that tweet? Plenty of fun going on. Everyone's having fun. I don't know what I'm doing either, broda. I just literally don't know what you mean. Like, what do you mean by yes we can, and what do you mean by but it did at one point? I just don't know what you, like, what were you responding to? I think there's a delay in the stream or something. Yeah, no big deal. It's okay, we're just hanging out. We're just hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Not a big deal. Oh shit, look at my DMs. I gotta stop doing that. I keep doing that. I'm saying, guys. Yeah. This is a great question, Diamond. I'm so glad you're here. Finally, someone's here to ask a question. Your turtle stuck upside down. How would you get right side up? Turtle, I'm stuck upside. How big am I? Matters. How wide am I? Am I a little turtle or am I a big turtle? Big turtle from the tropics. Okay. Get a visual. Oh, one of these boys. Oh, this is quite simple then. I would just use my big flappers to get back up on the right side. Simple. Dude, weed? Yeah, dude. Yeah, fucking weed, man. Yeah, dude. Hey, I need to buy some weed. I've been sober for like 3 weeks now. Need to get some fucking money so I can buy drugs. The stream's super lagged? Oh no. Did it make sense to you at one point believing you were a person? Yeah, but that's delusion, right? It's like I was deluded. It's not true. The thing is, when I look back at the past, I realized that there was never a person there the whole time. So like, yeah, I was deluded, and for some reason I thought that was a person, but that was just like my delusion, you know? And I don't know why I thought it either. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why did I think that? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It never was a person. Nothing was ever happening. It's really obvious to me now. Nothing's ever happened. Nothing was ever happening. Nothing ever will happen. There never was a person. It just doesn't connect with me. Like that idea. Doesn't make sense. Maybe we could do some group study together, guys. Some group study. Yay, thanks for the likes, everyone. Yay, I like being liked. Okay. Cool. Group study time. I'm gonna read some Foyam. Zen school is called the School of Kasyappa's Great Absorption in Quiescence. I meet. Without stirring a thread, all is understood. Without stirring a hair, all is realized. Great absorption in quiescence. Well, can you explain what doesn't make sense in being a person / individual entity? Yeah, it's like there's no beings at all. Like, where would there be beings? Like, for me, it doesn't make sense that someone would say there were any beings. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I feel like that's quite an unjustifiable position. Like, there just obviously isn't any beings. Like, there's no distinctions. There's no, like, distinctions between things. Like, there's not like, oh, this is like a table and this is like a person, and they're different. It's obviously not. I don't know. For me, it's not an explanation thing. It's just like how it is. It's just like reality. What about an entity rather than being? I think, yeah, it's the same word, right? It's like there's no entities, no beings. All form is empty. Like, it just seems really obvious to me, I guess. Let's do some. So, in the Zen school, without stirring a thread, all is understood. Without stirring a hair, all is realized. So stirring a thread is like disturbing something, right? And stirring a hair is like disturbing something a very little bit. And without doing that, all is realized. Okay, cool. Form is emptiness and emptiness is form. But what do you mean by emptiness, LH? What I mean is like, form isn't real. Nothing's real. Nothing that you perceive in any of your senses is a real thing. It's all just an empty transformation of nothing. It's just pure non-arisingness all the time. There's like nothing arising, nothing arises. Nothing happens. Nothing's ever happened. So like, I don't really connect with emptiness as a concept, I guess. It's just like, nothing's ever happened, nothing ever will happen. Can you qualify the term real? Like, real. Like it's part of reality. Like it exists. I don't know, it's like real. Like a thing. It like matters. I don't know. How is form not part of reality? Well, reality is a form, right? The idea of reality, or the conception of reality is a form. And forms aren't real. There's no reality to forms. Forms are just concepts. They're just words. All thought. Everything's thought. All thought is form. All forms are concepts. All concepts are words. Words aren't real. I just wanted to DM. Reality isn't real. Nothing's real. Nothing's real. Nothing's real. So we don't exist? Exactly. There's never been any beings. There's no beings. Nothing's ever real. Nothing's ever been real. So is this some kind of nihilism stance on things? No. I'm not like asserting like nothingness as a position. Nothing's happening, mate. I'm describing what everything, like what reality is. And reality isn't form. It's just a non-arising thing. Well, so this what? What? I don't see anything. Ever. Well, this? What is this? It is metaphysical nihilism, which is to say there's not anything which exists. Well, it's not in the category of existing or non-existing, right? It's just non-conceptual reality, which is, and the non-conceptual reality, which is non-dualistic and without distinction, is that there is just like the pure brilliance of non-arisingness, which is always present, without it being in the category of existent or non-existent. And that is every form. Well, not void. Duality isn't real, dude. Dualities aren't real. Like saying this is not void and this is void, it's just like, it's just a thought, it's just a concept. It's not a real thing. There's just one thing. What thing? There's not just one thing. Nothing ever arises. Everything is non-conceptual. That non-conceptualness fits into no duality. There's no existing or not existing, arising or not arising. All form is that same thing. And that same thing isn't a thing. It's not. It's completely unborn. It's non-arising. Nothing arises. So it's like this unborn non-arisingness is everything. But that isness, it doesn't fit into the category of is or isn't. It's not like it is this. Right? Is there one thing, many things, or no things? All of them, right? All of those things are true. There's one thing because everything's one thing, everything's happening. There's many things because many different things arise. And there's no things because nothing is actually arising. Yeah. Let me read you some Hang Po. Right. All the Buddhas and all sentient beings are nothing but the one mind, beside which nothing exists. This mind, which is without beginning, is unborn and indestructible. It is not green nor yellow and has neither form nor appearance. It does not belong to the categories of things which exist or do not exist, nor can it be thought of in terms of new or old. It is neither long nor short, big nor small, for it transcends all limits, measures, names, traces, and comparisons. It is that which you see before you. Begin to reason about it and you at once fall into error. How can many different things arise while simultaneously nothing arises? Well, the arising in itself isn't conceptual. It's not a conceptual arising. It's a non-conceptual arising, which means it doesn't arise. So, like, even though things arise, they're seen through as empty immediately, right? Because they're non-existent. I'm having a hard time understanding all this, but I'm not really smart. There's no surprising me. This is extremely difficult to understand. Everything but nothing is in there too. I don't think anything's in anything, but I can feel like what you're saying. And I think you're right that like everything and nothing are like there, but I don't think they're in each other. It's like a bit more non-conceptual. I feel like. Recommend me some books, beginner level. You could try. I mean, there's not a thing. You can check out that. I mean, don't listen to Obsha, obviously. I'm talking about a completely different thing to that. Whatever bullshit that is. Does the essential substance of the Buddha, so that's the mind, so that's everything, differ at all from that of sentient beings, or are they identical? So, you can reach enlightenment, Obtra, if you want to. Just up to you. Be honest, are you starting a cult? I mean, no. Yes. No. I mean, what is a cult, you know? Has your experience now with animals any difference from anything else, people? Animals suffer way less, I've noticed. They're a lot more just like always in the sort of universe mind, like nothingness mind. Where they're not like, they're not conceptualizing. They're just kind of existing and being with nothing arising. But like, I'd say, you know, like the whole thing is like, does a dog have better nature? From what I've seen, like, yeah, mostly. Yeah, so like, yeah, animals generally don't think that they're beings and don't think that things arise. So we kind of vibe a bit on that. How about defining the terms? What terms? You want me to define nothingness? But he's trying to explain transcendence communication. You guys are asking for it to be communicated. I mean, it's just not conceptual, Ultra. So it's like, you can... It doesn't really matter what I say. I could be like, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you can get the same thing out of that than you can from me saying that it's non-conceptual. Same thing. You let me join Symbol? Why did you earn the right to Babylon? Instead of just expecting to get things for free. Okay, I've got a great quote for you guys from Hang Po. A monk asks, "What instructions have the masters everywhere given for practice and the study of the Dharma?" Hang Po says, "Words used to attract the dull of wit are not to be relied on." But he's not that into words either. If those teachings were meant for the dull-witted, I have yet to hear what Dharma has been taught to those of really high capacity. And he says, if they are really men of high capacity, where could they find people to follow? True! If you guys were good at it, you would get it already. If they seek from within themselves, they will find nothing tangible. How much less can they find a Dharma worthy of their attention elsewhere? Do not look to what is called the Dharma by preachers, for what sort of Dharma could that be? True. Can't learn this stuff from other people. How long have you been studying? Like 7 years, me. Like 7 years. If that is so, should we not seek for anything at all? He says, by conceding this, you would save yourself a lot of mental effort. And then he says, but in this way, everything would be eliminated. There cannot just be nothing. And Hangpo says, who called it nothing? Who was this fellow? He wanted to seek for something. And he's like, since there's no need to seek, why do you also say that not everything is eliminated? And then he says, not to seek is to rest tranquil. Who told you to eliminate anything? Look at the void in front of your eyes. How can you produce it or eliminate it? So he's just kind of killing it. He's just kind of killing it. He's better than me, for sure. Yeah. Poor Hang Po, just trying to help people. You should try out Shiv 1. It seems really janky, Opcha, I'm not gonna lie. It seems really fucking janky. What is the seeking energy in the plainest conception? It's just like taking you away from what you already are to try and find something that you already are. Like trying to find what you already are with what you already are. So like seeking mind with mind. Like seeking to not arise with not arisingness. Seeking unborn with unborn. It's like a weird separation where you're like trying to find something which you already have. Anything has been communicated. Teachings are all about community knowledge and experience. The discussions had, the books read, the experience that, and you judge whether this makes sense. Not this, LH. This is a non-conceptual realization. You realize it by not conceptualizing things. Yeah. Hmm. Down here. Yay, look how close I am. Yay. Okay. How am I gonna put this? You read things and identify whether this makes sense to you by interpreting them. I think there's a kind of underestimation of the power of words and communication here. So LH, like, your experience is conceptual. Everything that appears to you, any of your experience, any of your reality, is actually just thought. And thought is words, and words are concepts. So like for you, you think that you can get things by learning things and like adjusting your concepts and like your way of perceiving things into a place where that new thing is now happening. And like you've changed from one place to another place. And this new place is different because the words and the concepts are different, and the experiences are different, the reality is different. But like what I'm saying is that all reality is non-existent. There's no way to penetrate into anything. And like realizing that is realizing enlightenment, because you realize there's no beings, there's nothing happening, nothing has ever happened, there never has been beings, there never will be beings, there never will be anything happening. And when you see that all through content, which is all thought, all concepts, all words, are just empty of any reality at all and are completely illusory, that's when you're free. Because you're no longer attached to anything. And you realize that there are no beings, right? So like, how are you going to communicate that with words? You're not. fun little thing. Okay. Why the collective forgetting? Birth, being born? I don't know, it's just this weird human thing. Like, it's just a weird human thing. Like, what the fuck? I don't understand either. Doesn't make any sense to me. Like, to me, there's no beings, nothing's ever happening. And, like, animals seem to get it, too. Just, like, why didn't humans get it? Seems weird. I think they do get it, really. They just say they don't. That's my new working theory. Like, everyone's just kind of pretending they're not enlightened. But no, they seem to... Humans suffer a lot, you know? Like, the suffering thing's so weird. Like, the identification and, like, suffering. There's no beings and there's nothing happening, but like for some reason you're identifying and it makes you unhappy. It's really weird. It's so strange that beings suffer and they think they're beings. Really fucking weird. I wonder why. It's really strange. How are you able to communicate anything at all if nothing exists and what you're saying has no meaning? Who knows? Who knows that? I don't know. I don't think I'm communicating anything at all. But like you guys, you know, I don't think anyone's understanding anyone. Like it's just like wow 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 wow. It's like the same thing. I was like wow 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 wow. Like the same result. Maybe like in terms of like the the actual like sound waves is different. You know what I mean? It'd be different, it wouldn't be understood. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I think you're just like I think we're all like tape recorders basically. We're just like repeating like what we've heard before. It's like I'm like fom 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 and you're like ah shum shum shum. Blim blim blim. It's like the same thing. Do you think life is easier when you just play along even when it doesn't make sense? Just thinking about it. What do you mean by play along, Leo Marson? I just started learning about Buddhism in school and I'm curious as to what someone who has been fully enlightened takes as the core of the whole philosophy. Sure, Smirk. So there's a thing called the non-dual model, and that's a pretty good description I'll just grab it for you. This is like, I'm pretty in agreement with this. And it's something that the Buddha said. And it's called like the one vehicle. In the seeing, just the seen. In the hearing, just the heard. In the sense, just the sense. In the cognized, just the cognized. So basically, no self. It's like, when you're thinking, there's no thinker. When you're seeing, there's no seer. When you're hearing, there's no hearer. And when you're feeling, there's no feeler. Everything's just happening by itself and nothing's arising. And there's no duality. Everything's just completely just a non-conceptual non-existence. Which doesn't even fit into the category of non-existence or existence. Like, no categories. There's just a non-distinct, like, pure non-distinct, complete, absolute, without an object arising or a mind arising, continuation of the six senses as they are, operating by themselves without even distinguishing them between into different senses. But like, yeah. Hopefully that explains something. How can you claim animals get this philosophy / perception? How do you know on behalf of animals? When you get to a certain level of realization, you can see into the hearts of people. And you just see exactly what they're like. And I could just tell. I mean, when you just live like everyone else and don't think too much. I think like as long as you're living as a being that thinks that it's a being, and you don't think there's no beings, and you don't think that there's nothing happening, then you're gonna suffer. It doesn't really matter what you do within that. You know, there's morality, right? Being moral is important. Treating people well, doing no harm, being kind and compassionate, all makes you happier, and it helps. But really, in my opinion, that serves the purpose. The purpose that serves is to realize that there are no beings and nothing's happening. And that's the most important thing, because that's where your suffering actually comes from. That's why you're unhappy, that's why you want to be happy, that's why you have desires. Everything that you're doing is actually kind of just a bit of a psyop on yourself to try and get you to realize that nothing's happening and there's no observer. There's no beings. There's no observers anywhere. And I think that, like, you know, just playing along, even when it doesn't make sense, is kind of like a shitty version of trying to realize the truth. Why is there something instead of nothing, or why is there nothing instead of something? Whichever is the case, why? I mean, if you're going to put things into the, like, separate categories of nothing and something, right, that's a duality, right? You're like, there's nothing, and then there's something. And duality is just unreal, it's just non-conceptual. Like, reality is just non-conceptual. Like, you can't fit it into a like, dual category of, like, something or nothing. And everything is already non-conceptual. Everything's already non-dual. So, like, this whole idea of, like, there being dualities just doesn't make sense to me. When you think nothing has happened, then you can just jump from a bridge. But you can also not jump from a bridge, right, Leon? Like, it's kind of up to you. Why is there not A instead of A? There can't be not A and A. Why not, Obcha? But I'm not even saying, I'm not saying that there's not A instead of A, and I'm not saying there's not A and A. I'm saying that it's non-conceptual. So, like, coming at it with, like, there's A and there's not A, and, like, there can be both. It's like, this whole thing is just a duality, and you're, like, fucking around with the pieces. But I'm saying the whole framework is bullshit. There's no duality. Everything's non-dual. Right? True. True. Retweet. The opposite of dualism is oneness or monism. Fuck you, Obcha. No, dude. I already told you no. It's not oneness. It's not monism. It's non-conceptual. So, like, saying it's a concept is not right, right? It doesn't seem like there's only one thing. I'm not saying there's only one thing. I'm saying it's non-conceptual. You ever play Frontline and Invasion? When I'm really bored, all his vibes. If I'm like in a really bad place, if I'm like depressed, then I'll run up some front line and just kill some noobs. Generally, I like battling people who are at my level and getting better at the game. I mean, slaying people is great fun, right? But like just crushing noobs is great fun. But generally, I prefer to battle people of my level. Why can't you just force enlightenment upon people? Well, everyone's already enlightened. I don't know why they think they aren't. Life's a weird place. True, Leon. True. True, true, true. What are you doing when you just closed your eyes? I can connect to the universe as a being. I was connecting to the universe as a being and kind of letting it inhabit my body. What happened in your body? It was kind of like there was this gigantic presence, which was everywhere, and I felt it like go up into my spine and then out into my chest and like then disperse into my body. And it was like an energetic feeling. Whoa, Bill. Bill's killing it. That's some shit. Kundalini? I don't know, all his vibes. Like, just because you feel energy in a certain... Like, you know, I feel energy in my body all the time. You know what I mean? I feel you, that, like, that's what people call it, but I think energy is a lot more complicated than just, like, Kundalini or not Kundalini, you know what I mean? Have you ever experienced other people seeming not real, and when you think about it too much, they behave aggressively? Almost like sort of a firewall against enlightenment. Ultra, do you mean like I'm just like thinking or like being myself? Like, what do you mean? Am I saying something to them and then they're reacting poorly? Or do you mean like it's an energy? My nails are great. Or is it like an energetic thing? You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean by like, what do I do and what do they do? What are you asking? When you focus on their true nature too much, they seem like chaotic demons. It's really weird. Ovcha, this sounds like, to me... So is it a perceptual thing? Or are they... I watched Avatar The Last Airbender, all his vibes. Then you snap back into your role or character. So, like, how repeatable is this, Obcha? Like, how often has this happened? And, like, is this a new thing, or is this, like, a repeatable thing? Like, how repeatable is this? Because I understand what you're saying. I just want to get, like, the context so I can give, like, a proper bit of advice or something. When's the first time you did LSD and almost every time you smoke weed? Yeah, Ovcha, you could be, yeah, you could be doing something energetic. And it could be a little bit rapey. But maybe not. Like, if you were just, like, slamming energy into people, then I can imagine them reacting quite poorly if it was without consent. What do you mean by rapey? It's like, energy is a real thing, and, like, consent is a real thing. And, like, using your magical powers on people without their consent is a bit rapey, is what I mean. And it's understandable that you would do it because you didn't realize they were real, and you're like, oh, this is strange, like, I can do this thing, and people freak out. But, like, it is real, and, like, you don't mean to do it, it just happens. Well, maybe you should think about not doing it. How are energies / vibrations real? If everything's non-conceptual, then nothing you can feel or think is real, but you refer to it like it's real by missing the point. No, Nogs, you're making a great point. Energy is just as real as any other part of your perception. It's an extra sense that some people have and most people don't. Kind of like seeing, like thinking. Energy is like another, it's like the seventh sense. So it's a form and it's empty. It's an empty transformation, just like any other empty transformation. There's nothing to it, just like anything else. There's nothing to anything else. Everything is empty, everything is non-conceptual. And nothing is arising, ever. Everything's unborn. Yeah. I think that answers your question, right? Because I get super fearful. That's scary, Okcha. You should be careful with that. That sounds scary. Almost like we're in prison. If I try to break free, we stop ourselves. I mean, the thing is, Ovcha, you've got to consider that, like, the whole thing is the whole thing. When that happens, you feel like you're God. Well, that makes sense. Okay, now just consider that what you're doing is real, right? Consider that you are God. So let's say that you are God, and you start seeing someone else as not real, and then you start thinking about it a lot, and then they start freaking out. Like, that kind of makes sense, right? If you were God and you were like observing how unreal people were and like really thinking about it, then they would probably freak out. So far this is checking out as like a thing, and I guess I would just say, like, you know, try and be careful, you know. You know, ask for consent if you want to do, like, energy shit on people. What could happen to you? They could attack you. Yeah. It seems super dangerous. Yeah, it seems super dangerous to me too. I think everything's great fun, but, like, I think dying is great fun. And, like, the universe collapsing is great fun, and, like, the world being destroyed is great fun. So there's not really a useful perspective for me to give to you. But what I will give you is, like, the idea of consent being a thing, and, like, energetic powers being real. And, like, what if it's real? You know, maybe that's a question to ask yourself. It's like, what if it's real? What if I really do get, like, a superpower when I smoke weed? Delusions and philosophy are dangerously similar. I would say everything is a delusion. Like, all form is delusion. The only real thing is this non-conceptual, non-arising reality, which everyone's already in, but they don't know this. For some reason. Have you done psychedelic after Enlightenment? Not yet, Cream Pie. I have no money, so I can't buy any. But I probably would. What's death like? For me, for you, or in general? John, what do you mean? Why is there pain and suffering? Like, delusion, right? Like, so, like, delusion, like, being deluded about the truth, means that your body-mind isn't acting in accordance with the truth. And if you don't act in accordance with the truth, then it kind of is uncomfortable and it kind of hurts. Because you're just not acting in a normal way. You're just kind of like, you're resisting, you're like clinging, you're seeking, right? You're being ignorant. And that all causes suffering, right? So it's like, why? Well, it just does. It just does. Like, those things are just painful. Do DMT on camera and post them on YouTube, boom, viral. Enlightened being does DMT. I mean, it's not a bad idea, cream pie. So I'm gonna consider that, actually. Although I'm not sure if I want to record a trip. I see these things as like super sacred, and I really respect like the beings that can deliver me like new and powerful things through these like supposed substances. So like, I don't know. I don't know if it would be respectful to the deities to like stream them or like record it. I wonder how they would feel about it. I'd probably have to ask like the DMT and the deities that like if it's okay to do that. I want a good relationship with them and I love them. All substances, all deities. I want a good relationship with them. It's so weird when that thing's happened to me. I'm trying to analyze it. It's happened 3 times. Try and be careful, I guess, Obja. Why does it surprise you that most people aren't unaware? What do you mean aren't aware? You must have spent a lot of your life yourself being unaware of what you now believe. It's just so obvious, Nugs. It's just so obvious. Like, it's just so obvious. Like, reality is obviously not dualistic at all. It's just obviously not. It's obviously non-conceptual. So, like, I can't believe that I thought that that wasn't the case for some reason before I realized it. Like, the realization of, like, enlightenment is that it's always been the same. It's like pre-birth, post-birth, during birth, after death. Like, it's always going to be the same thing, and that's always been there and always will be there. And it always has been there, even when I thought it wasn't there for some reason. So it's like, it's just like kind of weird and fucked. It's like, why don't people notice this? Weird. Weird. That is other people. That's what it made me feel like. I think seeing other people as like demons is actually like a kind of common experience on like drugs, and it's called in meditation. It's called the arising and passing away, like these kind of spiritual states, where you kind of see people as demons and stuff like that. It's just like a spiritual thing. It's like you're getting insight into reality, and when you get insight into reality, like these projections come up, which are very drastically different to what you've normally experienced, because your like mind is like reeling and trying to deal with it. So like it's very possible that like you just had like a kind of spiritual experience, and like it's a normal thing. Maybe not. You could check out the Mastering the Core Teachings of the Buddha. It's a great book. And I'm sure you'll find something in there which would be relevant to you. Okay, well, yeah, best of luck, man. It's a bit of a trip. There's a lot about meditation, but a lot of it applies to, like, other stuff, too. But it's also very, very specific and, you know, important, and, like, it's not... You know what I mean? It's this whole own thing that I can't really, you know... Daniel was a whole chapter on Rising and Passing Away, yeah. Yeah, but I'm sure you'll find it extremely useful. If you're having spiritual experiences and you don't understand them and you want someone to help you and like you want a reference point, Mastering the Core Teachings of the Buddha is a great book, I think. do you think about Christianity? I think it's great. Of Cha, ready for Dark Knight? Yeah. It's a tough time. Dark Knight, there's a whole insight stage called the Dark Knight of Cha, and it's like all this really tough stuff that you can go through. Tough for people who aren't ready for it and aren't practiced, obviously. For people who are practiced and are ready for it, it can be quite fun. Dark Knight, so you've heard that term before? Yeah, it's used quite a lot. Dan Newingham uses it as a very specific thing, which is like a particular stage of insight. It's like after you go through the arising and passing away, which is like a really powerful spiritual experience, you keep just like rolling through like difficult stages, different stages, and they're categorized as the Dark Knight. It's also a great Batman movie, yeah. That's true. And that's the most important thing here. Maybe you should go watch Batman. Option. Just like, supposed for a Dark Knight to last for years, yeah. It is Wizard. Basically, you just keep looping through the Dark Knight until you get enough insight to pass into equanimity. And then after you pass into equanimity, you go into like the realization, and then when you go through the realization, everything's better. But you have to just like keep looping and like getting insight into reality until you can actually get to equanimity, and then you have to actually get enough insight to get through equanimity, or you just loop back again. So it can last for years, it can last for a whole lifetime if you don't get enough insight. I mean, LH, like, being able to tell the hearts of things is just true. True. By this way of thinking, you can rest comfortable by inflicting pain on others without feeling an ounce of remorse. I mean, why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense. Like, you've made this is a really strange jump, right? It's like, I'm saying that I can directly perceive exactly how people are, including animals, and understand them. And you've said that I could just torture animals and not care, which is like a whole different thing, right? Weird, I will continue. Best of luck, Obja, yeah. How is your Dark Knight? I mean, Cream Pie, it's a stage. The Dark Knight is like the name for a collection of stages, which you go through when you get insight. And I was getting huge, like, waves of insight, like, in many, many different ways, in many different areas of my life. Like, multiple times a day. Like, a lot, right? So I was just always kind of going through different Dark Knights and, like, going through those different stages and stuff like that. So it wasn't like I had, like, a specific, like, oh, like, this is the Dark Knight, and this is the one that I'm going through, and it's, like, really bad. Like, I was just having it all the time, you know? So it's like, oh, today I'm, like, really disgusted by everything. That's interesting. Today I'm, like, really sad. That's interesting. Like, oh, like, today I'm kind of going meta on my, like, perception and trying to, like, break out of something. Oh, like, today I'm feeling really peaceful. It wasn't really, like, I didn't really conceptualize it as, like, a thing as part of my story. You know what I'm saying? You did acid for the first time with a friend 3 years ago when you were 17? Wow, that's pretty young. Blah blah blah, it was great. Love it. I love a blah blah blah, it was great. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Ovcha, is that, like, psychedelics are like beings. They're like gods. They're deities. Yeah, they're deities. Like, shrooms are deity, LSD is a deity, DMT is a deity. And, like, they're not predictable at all what's gonna happen. And they kind of just give you what you want if you honor what they want to. So it's kind of like building a relationship. And it's not super like, this happens and then this happens, you know? Oh shit, fuck. Ah, don't ban me. Don't ban me. Fuck. Ah! Don't scroll Twitter. Don't scroll Twitter on stream. Stop streaming. Restarted stream. Correct. I decided to believe I was God, then my friend turned into the devil and he was trying to get me to go outside, but that really scared me because I thought that if I went outside with him I would like blast off into the stars. Yeah, that sounds tough. Sounds like a difficult situation. You got stuck on a loop and your parents came downstairs and asked what are you guys doing and you said acid? Sounds rough. Doesn't sound enjoyable. You're not supposed to be doing drugs, we're calling the cops, so they called the cops? Jesus, this is terrible. The cops came? Wild. These parents are terrible. What's wrong with these parents? Either the cops were like angels, demons? Yeah. Are you like a vegan now, H? Is that why you're saying this stuff? Any feeling change around eating meat? Yeah, Bill. I shifted from like just eating it and not really giving a fuck to now like when I eat it I try and like honor and like love and appreciate the animal that I'm eating. Like thank you for like giving me this gift. Like I really appreciate this. You got tased a lot, Obcha? Jesus, dude. This story is completely wild. Like, they just tased the 17-year-old because he was on acid? Like, what the fuck? Many people didn't think about death, they put it in the back of mind and avoid it, so their whole life becomes a lie, and then they come out of when either they accept it or deny it. Maybe not, because I don't know. Entities make up the universe and they have to swap power between each other and the swap is really painful. It sounds like a trip, Obja. You fractured a cop's cheekbone by throwing your phone at him? Jesus, dude. But, I mean, this is just the parents' fault. Why did they call the cops? Like, what the fuck? That's fucked up. Then. Fuck. You're in college and doing well, though? That's nice to hear. Yeah, sounds like you didn't quite have your intentions set in place, ready for that trip, Obja. Like, it's really good to, like, know what you want out of it and, like, honor it and, like, love it and, like, treat it as something sacred and, like, really appreciate it and, like, you know, all that good stuff when you do psychedelics. Like, I've done them alone mostly. I've only ever done psychedelics around other people one time. 2 times. That's just because I was at their house. For me, it's always been very solitary, so it's just been about, like, what I want. And I guess I was never really influenced by other people that much. But even when I did it over there, I wasn't really influenced by other people. He was more of a have fun type person, and you wanted to like seek enlightenment, and you're put off because you're into really into philosophy. That's sick, Obja. I'm really happy that you do that. Grateful that you do this. I'm super happy to hang out and like answer questions and like chat about stuff. It's just fun for me. It's just fun for me. I just enjoy it. So like, I'm glad you're grateful. But yeah, I just do it for fun. I'm glad that it's fun for you too. Peace out, Bill. Thanks for tuning in. Have you had an ND or ego death? I haven't, Mogs. No. They seem kind of... They're just form, right? They're just form. You know what I mean? They're just form. What I realized while getting tased was that I just needed to let go and stop resisting my pain would go away, and guess what? Exactly that happened, and that taught me a greater lesson. That's great, Obja. That's really good news. You like learned that like pain and suffering are different, and you can like feel pain without suffering, and you can just let go. It sounds great to me. The energy swap thing? Yeah, let me know. What do you mean by that? That's interesting. Always down for people to tell me their experiences with the universe. Always interesting. Need to smoke some DMT at some point. Douche. God and the devil, good and evil, and where we were fighting for the control of the universe, I controlled them, but he wanted it. He tried so hard to get it, but in the end. Oh. Yeah, I get it. Culture. You realize it's best if I just give up and you wouldn't hurt me? Wow. I think you would. Oh. That's a fun realization. You just had to trust him. Yeah, dude. Yin and yang is always about trust. It's all about trust, right? Like both perfectly in balance, like perfect harmony, like middle way shit, right? Like yin yang. Who's this? What's this guy? Doo-doo. It's a banger song, I'm not gonna lie. Metaphorical me. Oh, because of Yama. This exact part of the song. Last time I listened to it, I said the exact same thing, and I said, "Oh, it's Yamaharuda, of course." The Jabbers and Yamaharuda collabing is so insanely good. So insanely good. I feel different. Opinion on magic? Opinion on magic? It's like a poor way of describing the real thing. Have you had an experience which had the same pattern as what I explained? I think like letting go and like trusting and like surrendering and like experiencing a duality of like good and evil, and then just like realizing if I just like surrender and like trust is like a whole thing, Obja. And like it all just fits in pretty nicely with just like spiritual experiences of just like, yeah, it's like you had a duality, right, which is good and evil, and then you in the end you realize like, hey, like we don't need to have this duality, like instead we can just like both be at ease with each other, and if I just trust you and love you, then like everything feels great. And yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, it fits perfectly well into everything I understand. I have to think about it more. I've not yet fully processed it. Yeah. Thanks for sharing it. It was really interesting. It pushed you into what you think is the best path for you? Yeah, everything happens for a reason, man. We'll rank you on Mortal? I'm in like 4. I can't get any games, I can't queue up. But I was shitting on everyone in Diamond 4. Shitting on them. Yeah. You quit partying and smoking all the time and you said you went to college and other good choices? Oh, that's great, Obja. If that's what you want to do, that's great. I quite like partying and smoking personally, but why do you think everything happens for a reason? It just does. It does. It just does. Why would anything happen for no reason? True. It does, man. You got a Steam account on? That sucks, used. You're around, Obja. You can only get into brawl games? Yeah, it's tough, that shit. It's a tough life, man. Does human reasoning is separate from reality? We're not talking about reasoning, Nugs. When you say everything happens for a reason, you don't say everything happens based on human reason. I mean, you're just saying that, like, there's a reason that things happen. That reason might not be able to be expressed with human reasoning. The reason is just a word, right? Pointing at some real thing. And like human reasoning as like a separate like thing, whole thing. The whole other thing, right? Think about it from a human perspective? Yeah, like everything can be like everything can be reasoned with human reasoning. That would be an absurd take. Yeah, that's not what I meant. I'm glad that we clarified it. Still good. Happens. That'd be fucking absurd. Oh, any tips on settings / things to think about before doing DMT breakthrough for the first time? Yeah, Yeast. Just ask yourself this. Do I want insight into reality? Do I want to know what reality is? Do I want to know the truth? Is that another form of cause and effect? Yeah, Nogs, but it's a bit more detached from the idea of cause and effect that like humans have. So like the human idea of cause and effect is kind of like either things are random or things happen for human reasons. And I think that they happen for inhuman reasons, which can be understood. They're non-linear, non-conceptual. But everything happens for a reason. Everything happens, it's hard to say it. Everything happens for a reason is like a good way to put it, but it's pointing to something which is a lot more different. I'll let you know how it goes. Good luck, Yeast. Enjoy your sushi. Aww. How'd agree on that? Yay, Nogs, we agree on something. That's good. Well, that's a great question, Dejan. That's a great question, man. What do you think is the most important question that we should be asking? What has already happened? That's a great question. And like what I mean by that is what has already happened in the future and is rippling back to the present? What has already happened? 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 Like, what has already happened in the future that is rippling back to the present? What has already happened? Like, what has already happened? 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 It's a good question. Alright guys, I'm going to stop streaming. Thanks so much for watching, I appreciate you tuning in. Bye-bye. I'm not a reptilian, so no. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, buddy. It was really good, man. Very good having you here. Peace to Jan. Yeah, see you around, Logs. Really enjoyed listening. I'm really happy about that, Wizard. Like, glad it's like just like a chill vibe that you're happy to tune into. I worry about being a bit too intense sometimes, so it's nice to know. Alright guys, see ya.